I, 24M, am writing this post because I feel really lost right now and I need some perspective on what I should do. My friend Penny, 24F, and I met during our first year of college back in 2020. We were part of the same orientation group during freshman week. I remember she wore this bright yellow shirt and had the most infectious laugh. There were about 15 of us in that group, and we all became friends, but me and Penny clicked instantly. We both ended up choosing architecture as our major, which meant we spent a lot of time together in studios working on projects. Penny was always the creative one, coming up with these amazing designs while I was more technical and detail-oriented. We balanced each other out perfectly. During our second year, we had this huge project that required us to work overnight multiple times. Penny would bring her mom's homemade cookies, and I'd make sure we had enough coffee to keep us awake. Over the years, she became my closest friend. We shared everything with each other. Penny told me about her family problems, how her parents divorced when she was 12 because her dad cheated on her mom with his secretary. Her mom remarried when Penny was 15 to this guy named Greg who was financially stable but emotionally distant. Greg had 2 kids from his previous marriage and always favored them over Penny. I remember one night during our third year when Penny came to my apartment crying because Greg had told her she was wasting money studying architecture and should get a real job like his kids who worked in finance. My mom was visiting that weekend, and she sat with Penny all night, making her favorite pasta and telling her not to give up on her dreams. After that, Penny became like a daughter to my mom. She would even spend holidays with us when things got too tense at home. Penny and I never dated each other. Sure, during our second year, I had a small crush on her, but I valued our friendship too much to risk it. Plus, we had talked about how dating friends usually ends badly. We were always open about our dating lives. Penny dated this guy James for 6 months in our third year, but he turned out to be a jerk who was seeing someone else at another college. I helped her through that breakup, and we spent an entire weekend watching bad movies and eating ice cream. I dated a girl named Emma for 8 months during our third year, and then briefly dated Lisa during our final year. Penny was always supportive, giving me dating advice and helping me plan dates. When things didn't work out with either of them, she was there to listen and offer support. After graduation last year, we got jobs at different architecture firms but, thankfully, in the same city. I work at Anderson & Partners while Penny got a job at Maxwell Designs. We still met regularly for coffee at this small cafe halfway between our offices. Every Thursday like clockwork, we'd meet at 1 p.m., share our week stories, and complain about work. Recently, Penny started having problems at work. Her boss, Mr. Maxwell, yes, the owner's son, was making all the junior architects work overtime without pay. He would often take credit for their designs during client meetings. Penny told me how he once presented her entire concept for a sustainable housing project as his own idea. When she tried to speak up during the meeting, he shut her down and later warned her about maintaining office hierarchy. 3 weeks ago, Penny had a particularly rough week. Maxwell had called a client meeting to discuss a project she had been working on. During the meeting, he blamed her for some mistakes in the blueprints that were actually made by his team during revisions. He yelled at her in front of everyone, calling her incompetent and threatening to fire her. Penny called me that evening sobbing. She couldn't quit because she needed the experience for her portfolio, but she was miserable. I remembered how last year, during one of our coffee meetings, she had told me about how flowers always cheered her up. Her dad, despite being absent most of the time after the divorce, would bring her favorite sunflowers whenever he visited. She said flowers reminded her that beautiful things can grow even in difficult conditions. So, I decided to send her a bouquet of sunflowers to her office. I added a small note saying, "Keep smiling, you're stronger than you think." I honestly just wanted to cheer up my best friend who was going through a tough time. I even checked online reviews to find the best florist in her office area and specifically requested they deliver before her lunch break so the flowers wouldn't sit in the sun too long. Penny texted me when she got them, saying they were beautiful and thanking me for being such a thoughtful friend. But after that day, things changed. Her texts became shorter and less frequent. She canceled our Thursday coffee meetup saying she had client meetings. The next week, she said she was sick. The week after that, she didn't even reply to my message asking if we were meeting. I thought maybe she was just caught up with work or needed some space to deal with her work stress. But last week, our mutual friend Tom told me something that made everything make sense. Penny had started dating a guy named Mike from her firm about 2 weeks before I sent the flowers. Mike was one of the senior architects, and they had been keeping their relationship quiet because of office politics. Apparently, when the flowers arrived at the office, everyone assumed they were from Mike since they knew they were dating. But when Mike saw the note and asked Penny about it, she had to tell him they were from me. According to Tom, Mike got really angry. He told Penny it was inappropriate for her male best friend to send her flowers, especially since I knew she was dating someone. But that's the thing, I had no idea she was dating anyone. Penny hadn't mentioned Mike at all. Now Mike apparently wants Penny to cut contact with me. He thinks I have ulterior motives and that I sent those flowers to make a move on his girlfriend. Penny hasn't directly told me any of this. She just keeps making excuses about being busy whenever I try to meet her to clear things up. Our friend group is divided on this. Tom thinks Mike is being ridiculous and controlling. Emma, who stays friends with both me and Penny after our breakup, thinks I should have checked if Penny was dating someone before sending flowers. Lisa says it's normal for friends to send flowers and Mike is clearly insecure. I just want my best friend back. Those flowers were meant to cheer her up during a difficult time, nothing more. Should I try to talk to Mike and explain my intentions? Or should I give Penny space and wait for her to reach out? I miss having my best friend around and this whole situation is making me feel terrible. Any advice would be appreciated. Update 1 first, I want to thank everyone who commented on my original post. Many of you suggested I should try talking to Penny directly instead of going through Mike. You said confronting Mike would only make things worse and might make him feel threatened. Well, I followed your advice and tried talking to Penny, but things got even more complicated. After 3 days of unanswered texts, I finally managed to get a response from Penny when I told her I needed to talk about an urgent work-related matter. She agreed to meet but asked to meet at this cafe almost an hour away from her office. She specifically mentioned not to tell anyone we were meeting. When I got to the cafe, Penny was already there, sitting in the furthest corner. She looked different, tired, nervous, and kept checking her phone every few minutes. This wasn't the confident, cheerful Penny I knew. She was wearing a high-neck sweater despite the warm weather, and I noticed she had removed all her usual bracelets and accessories that she loved wearing. The first thing she told me was that we only had 30 minutes because she told Mike she was meeting a client. My heart sank hearing this. Penny had never lied about meeting me before. As we talked, she revealed things that made my stomach turn. Mike had been checking her phone every night. He knew her password because he had watched her unlock it one day. He had gone through all our text conversations, even ones from college years ago. He particularly focused on late-night texts from when we were working on projects together. Penny said he got angry about messages where we had used heart emojis or called each other bestie. Mike had also been monitoring her social media. He found photos from college where Penny and I were hugging or had our arms around each other during group photos. Normal friend photos that everyone takes. He made her delete every single photo I was in. She had to archive any Instagram post where I was tagged, even group photos from our architecture department graduation. What scared me most was how Penny defended his behavior. She said Mike had trust issues because his ex-wife had cheated on him with her male best friend. According to Penny, they had been married for 5 years when Mike discovered their affair. She said Mike was just trying to protect their relationship and that checking her phone was his way of feeling secure. I tried explaining that this was textbook controlling behavior, but Penny got defensive. She said I wouldn't understand because I've never been in a serious relationship. Then she dropped another bombshell. Mike had been telling her that my behavior over the years showed clear signs that I had feelings for her. He pointed out how I was always there for her, how I remembered small details about her life, and how sending flowers was obviously a romantic gesture. Mike had convinced her that guys don't maintain close friendships with girls unless they want something more. He showed her posts from relationship advice websites about how male-female friendships are inappropriate in committed relationships. He even found some psychology articles about emotional affairs and told Penny our friendship crossed those boundaries. The worst part? Penny believed him. She said maybe we had been too close and that she needed to create better boundaries now that she was in a relationship. When I reminded her about all the times we had supported each other through breakups and difficult times, she said that was exactly what Mike was worried about, that we had an emotional intimacy that threatened their relationship. I couldn't hold back anymore. I told her that a loving partner wouldn't isolate her from her friends or demand access to her private conversations. Penny started crying, saying I was making her choose between her boyfriend and her best friend. I pointed out that I wasn't the one making her choose. Mike was the one demanding she cut people out of her life. Before leaving, Penny begged me not to tell our mutual friends about Mike checking her phone or making her delete photos. She was worried people would judge their relationship or think Mike was abusive. She said Mike just needed time to build trust, and then maybe we could all be friends. After Penny left, I sat in that cafe for another hour, feeling sick to my stomach. The Penny I knew would never let someone control her like this. She was always the one telling her friends to watch out for controlling guys. How could she not see what was happening? Later that evening, I met Tom at a bar and told him everything. That's when I learned more disturbing things about Mike. Tom's girlfriend Amy works at another architecture firm where Mike worked before joining Penny's company. Apparently, Mike had a pattern. His ex-wife hadn't actually cheated on him. She had left him because he was controlling and possessive. He had isolated her from friends and family, checked her phone regularly, and monitored her social media. When she finally left, he told everyone she had cheated on him to gain sympathy. Amy had heard stories about how Mike had done similar things in other relationships too. He would target women who were kind and empathetic, love bomb them initially, then slowly start controlling their lives. The fact that Penny was a junior architect while he was a senior architect made the power dynamic even worse. Now I'm really worried about Penny but feel helpless. If I try to warn her about Mike's past, she'll think I'm just jealous and making up lies. If I tell our friends, she'll be angry that I broke her trust. Our other friends have noticed her becoming distant too, but they think she's just busy with her new relationship. I keep thinking about what Penny's mom told us about her controlling ex-husband, Penny's stepdad. How he had isolated her mom from friends and family. Penny had witnessed this growing up, yet she can't see the similar pattern happening to her now. I don't know what to do anymore. Should I reach out to Penny's mom? Should I tell our other friends what's happening? Or should I just stay away as Penny asked and hope she realizes the truth before it's too late? Update: 2 things have taken a dramatic turn in the past week. Last Monday, I got an unexpected call from Penny's mom, Linda. She was worried because Penny had suddenly quit her job at Maxwell Designs and was planning to move in with Mike. Linda was confused because just 3 months ago, Penny had been excited about a potential promotion at work. Linda told me Penny had been distant lately and barely visited her. When Linda tried to visit Penny's apartment last weekend, Penny made excuses about being busy. The final straw was when Penny called to ask if she could borrow her grandmother's engagement ring. Apparently, Mike had proposed, and they were planning to get married next month. I told Linda everything, about Mike checking Penny's phone, making her delete photos, isolating her from friends, and the truth about his past relationships that Tom's girlfriend Amy had shared. Linda broke down crying. She revealed something I never knew: Penny's stepdad Greg had shown similar controlling behavior before marrying her mom. He had convinced Linda to cut ties with her friends, checked her emails, and monitored her spending. After marriage, his behavior got worse, which was the real reason Penny moved out at 18. The next day, while I was working from home, Penny showed up at my apartment. Her eyes were red from crying, and she looked like she hadn't slept in days. She had lost weight, and her usually perfect architectural sketches that she carried everywhere were missing. Before I could say anything, she hugged me and started apologizing. Through her tears, Penny explained that Mike had proposed last week with a massive diamond ring. When she asked for time to think about it, he got angry. He accused her of still having feelings for me and said if she really loved him, she would say yes immediately. He wanted to get married quickly and had already found a house in another city where he wanted them to move. Penny was overwhelmed but afraid to say no. Things got worse when Mike demanded to see her recent phone calls and texts. He found out she had been talking to her mom about him and completely lost it. He deleted all her social media apps and told her that if she really loved him, she would cut contact with her family too. That's when Penny had a moment of clarity. She remembered how Greg had isolated her mom from their family, how he had made similar demands before their marriage, and how her mom had become a shell of herself afterward. Penny realized she was falling into the same pattern. When Mike left for a client meeting, Penny packed whatever she could fit in her bag and left. She went straight to her mom's house. She was afraid Mike would try to contact her at work, which is why she emailed her resignation to HR the same day. But things got scarier. Mike started showing up everywhere. He parked outside my apartment complex multiple times. At first, I thought I was being paranoid, but my neighbor confirmed seeing a man matching Mike's description watching my building. Last Friday, he confronted me in the parking lot as I was leaving for work. He was angry, saying I had poisoned Penny against him and ruined their perfect relationship. He claimed Penny was just confused and that I had manipulated her because I wanted her for myself. When I tried to walk away, he grabbed my arm. I warned him I would call the cops, but he just laughed and said no one would believe me. I called the police anyway, but by the time they arrived, Mike was gone. I filed a report, and the officer suggested I document any future encounters. They also advised Penny to consider getting a restraining order, especially after we found out Mike had been sending her hundreds of messages from different numbers. Amy, Tom's girlfriend, has been incredibly helpful. She connected Penny with other women from their old firm who had similar experiences with Mike. Apparently, this was his pattern. He would date junior architects or designers, isolate them, push for quick marriage, and then try to make them quit their jobs and move away. Penny is currently staying with her mom and looking for a new job. She's afraid to step out alone because Mike keeps creating new social media accounts to contact her. Each time she blocks one, he makes another. He even tried to contact her through LinkedIn with fake job offers. I've given Penny space to process everything, but I miss my best friend. Our other friends have been supportive, taking turns staying with her at Linda's house and helping her look for new jobs. But every time I try to visit, Penny gets emotional and apologizes repeatedly for not believing me earlier. Tom suggested we gather evidence of Mike's behavior for the restraining order. We're collecting screenshots, photos of him outside my apartment, and statements from his previous colleagues. I just hope it's enough to keep him away from Penny. Update 3: A lot has happened since my last update, and I want to share how things turned out. Penny successfully got a restraining order against Mike after we presented evidence of his harassment. The judge was particularly concerned about the hundreds of messages from different numbers and his stalking behavior outside my apartment. During the hearing, we discovered even more disturbing things about Mike. 3 other women came forward with similar stories. All of them were junior architects or designers who had worked under him at different firms. His pattern was always the same: love bombing, quick proposals, isolation from friends and family, and then trying to make them move away from their support systems. One woman revealed that Mike had forced her to quit her job and move to another city, only to become more controlling and abusive. She eventually escaped with help from a neighbor. Another shared how Mike had stalked her for months after she broke up with him, forcing her to change jobs and move in with her parents. The restraining order was granted for 3 years. Mike cannot come within 500 feet of Penny, her workplace, or her residence. He's also banned from contacting her through any means, including social media or through other people. After the hearing, Mike's current firm fired him when they learned about his pattern of targeting junior female employees. Penny got a new job at a smaller architecture firm where she's much happier. Her new boss is a woman who has been incredibly supportive after learning about the situation with Mike. Penny is even leading her own project now, designing a women's shelter, which feels meaningful given her recent experience. Our friendship has slowly been healing. We started with group meetings where Tom and other friends were present, then gradually moved back to our old Thursday coffee routine. The first time Penny ordered my coffee exactly how I like it, even remembering the extra shot of caramel, just like old times, I knew we would be okay. Penny went to counseling for a few months to understand why she ignored the red flags with Mike. She realized that growing up watching her stepdad's controlling behavior had normalized toxic relationships for her. She even helped her mom recognize that her relationship with Greg was unhealthy, and Linda is now considering separation. Mike eventually moved to another state after losing his job and the restraining order. We learned he's been telling people that Penny cheated on him with me and that we conspired to ruin his reputation. Thankfully, no one who knows us believes him, and the architecture community in our city is pretty tight-knit. Word about his behavior has spread. Penny's mom thanked me repeatedly for standing by her daughter even when she pushed me away. She said watching Penny go through this made her realize how she had failed to protect her daughter from Greg's controlling behavior, and she's determined not to repeat those mistakes. We still get coffee every Thursday. Penny is designing again, carrying her sketchbook everywhere like she used to. Last week, she laughed at her desk calendar reminder saying, "What are the judgment flowers?" referring to the sunflowers that started this whole ordeal. She said she's glad those flowers helped her see Mike's true colors before it was too late. The whole experience has made our friendship stronger. Penny says she'll never let anyone come between us again, and I believe her. As for me, I'm just happy to have my best friend back, the one who can finish my sentences and knows exactly when I need a coffee break from work. She's taking time to focus on herself and her career before dating again. Meanwhile, I'm still sending her random flowers sometimes, now with notes that say friendship flowers, guaranteed to cause drama, which makes her laugh every time. Our friend group jokingly calls us the flower survivors now. It's nice to see Penny laughing freely again, designing beautiful buildings, and most importantly, being herself, the strong, independent woman she always was before Mike tried to change her.